Today we're going to be looking at evaluating geometric series. So very similar to when we evaluated arithmetic series. Once again, we have more than one formula, so which formula you use is going to depend on the information you're given. A1, as usual, is the first term. AN is the nth term, or the last term if you happen to know what that is. N is your number of terms, and R is your common ratio, what you multiply every time to get from one term to the next. I would strongly recommend using Desmos or some other calculator when you do these. I'm not going to show you typing things into the calculator here, but it would be a really good idea to have a calculator next to you so you can see where these numbers are coming from. Some numbers we'll run into are going to be fairly large, especially when we get into larger exponents, so much better to do that in a calculator than by hand. So, main thing is, can you figure out which formula you need to use, and can you put things into the formula correctly? So in order to use the red one, we have to have first term, number of terms, and the ratio. To use the blue one, we need first term, last term, and a ratio. So, and notice the blue one's a little friendlier because we don't have an exponent involved. So we're going to try to use the blue one when we can. So looking at this first one, I know the first term because first term is just the first number I see in the list. Since I don't have a dot, I know the last term, or AN, is the last number I see. And then R I can figure out by looking at how I get from one number to the next. To get from -1 to -2, I multiply by 2, and that checks out for getting from -2 to -4, etc., etc. We're multiplying by 2 every time. And so I have everything I need. I'm finding Sn. A1 is -1 minus AN is -16. I'm going to put that in parentheses so I don't leave out a negative sign. Times R is 2 over 1 minus R is once again 2. From here, you can type everything into Desmos exactly the way you see it. And when you do that, as long as you do all your signs correctly, you have all your parentheses and everything in the right spot, you should get -31. That one, the Sn isn't terribly large, but notice the numbers in the series aren't very large either. Let's try another one. So this is the same exact scenario. We are given a list of numbers. There's no dot, so the last thing we see is AN. As always, the first number we see is A1. And R, how do we get from one number to the next? To get from 4 to 12, I multiply by 3. And we can see that we're multiplying by 3 every time to get from one term to the next. So R is 3. Since I have A1, AN, and R, I can use the blue formula, just put things where they go. A1 is my first term, which is 4, minus AN is my last term, which is 324, times R, which is 3, all over 1 minus R, so 1 minus 3. And once again, put that whole fraction into Desmos. To get a fraction, hit your division key first, then type things into the top and bottom of your fraction. When you do that, you get 484. Answer's bigger than the last one, but the numbers in our list were bigger than the last one as well. For the next one, they didn't give us the series, but they gave us A1, A10, which is going to function the same way as AN, and they gave us R. Since we have A1, AN, and R, we can use the blue formula. So Sn equals A1, which is 1, minus AN, which is 512, times R, which is 2, all over 1 minus R, so 1 minus 2. Once again, you can put that all into Desmos. Just make sure you type everything in correctly. This time we get a 4-digit number, 1023, which is okay. Not a problem there. Notice that our last term was a pretty decent sized 3-digit number, so that all checks out. Next one is the same idea. They've given us the first term. They've given us a something, so we're going to treat that something as AN. And they've given us R, so we have everything we need for the blue formula. A1 is -3 minus, since this is negative, I'm going to put a parentheses. My AN is this large number. Make sure you have the minus and the minus there. Times R, which is 5, all over 1 minus R, so 1 minus 5. have a pretty good sized negative number here, so chances are we're gonna have a pretty large number for Sn as well. When you put all of this into Desmos or whatever calculator you are using, you should get negative 292,968. Seems really big, but if you look at the size of the numbers you're dealing with, it all checks out. The last two. We've been using the blue formula every time, but if you notice here, they've given us A1, R, and N. They haven't given us AN. The red formula, however, can use A1, R, and N. So it uses all the ingredients we've been given. So we use that red formula for the last two. We just put things where they go. Notice A1 is here twice, so it's going to be A1 minus your A1 once again. I'm going to put it in parentheses because it's negative, times R to the n, so 2 to the 8, all over 1 minus R, so 1 minus 2. Once again, from here, you can type it all into Desmos at once. Just make sure you have all your signs and exponents and everything exactly the way we have it written out. When we do that, you get negative 1,020. Last but not least, same scenario. They've given us A1, R, and N, which is all the ingredients we need for the red formula. A1 is negative 4 minus, since A1 is negative, I'm going to put it in parentheses once again, negative 4 times, oops, I meant to write a negative sign here. R is not 5, R is actually negative 5. My bad. Since R is negative, I'm also going to put that in a parentheses. And then 8 is my N. All over 1 minus R is 1 minus negative 5. Again, since it's negative, I'm going to put it in parentheses. Extra parentheses in general don't hurt anything. They just make things easier to interpret. So I'm going to put all that into Desmos. That is an 8, not a 9. Make sure you write an 8. When we do that, we get 260,416. That is it for geometric series. Goal is to use the correct formula and put everything in the right spots. Might get some kind of big answers, and that's okay. Have a great day.